Greg Ehrenberg here from Odd Shopper. I hope you guys are having a good week. So yesterday, didn't have any bets. It was mostly afternoon games that started early, and then the night game was only two. It was only two games on the night slate, so I didn't have any bets for that. So we didn't record a video, but we are back today. And like the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Right before I get into my best bets, a quick summary from bets of a couple days ago. I went 2-2 on my bets. Not terrible, not great either. The winning bets, it was Justin Verlander under 7.5 strikeouts and then Nick Pivetta under 6.5 strikeouts. And on that, I really wish I would have bet more on the Pivetta under strikeouts line because I really did feel like that was one of the most mispriced lines we've seen in quite some time. Pivetta had a tough matchup against the Braves and is not generally a really high strikeout pitcher. So that was a curious line. The ones that lost were Chris Bubich under 4.5 strikeouts and then Madison Bumgarner under 5.5. I felt good about the Bumgarner under 5.5 strikeouts. It looked good early. And then right before he exited the game, he racked up a few strikeouts in a row. So we got hit really hard in that game, but the strikeouts were there, so the bet lost. So 2-2 on the last video I did today. I've got some bets that I like quite a bit. Going to get into those in a second. But first, just let me know what you guys are betting on today. Let me know below in the comment section. Give yourself a chance to win some free stuff. You guys know I like to give away free subscriptions to our premium betting Discord. So leave a comment below and give yourself a chance to win that. But without further ado, these are my picks for the Friday night slate heading into the weekend. Start our bets out for Friday. I'm going with under 6.5 strikeouts for Michael Kopech. And we've been riding the under strikeouts prop for Kopech for a little while now. It's gone well. And I just don't really understand how this is a 6.5 line. I get that he has a really good matchup against the Detroit Tigers. But given the state of his strikeout stuff as of late, it's hard to think in any matchup he should have a strikeout over-under that's this high. In the second half of the season, Kopech has a 16.4% K rate. In the first half of the season, it was 21.6, which is not particularly great. But this is a pretty big drop-off for him in the second half of the year. And you have to go all the way back to June 7th to find a start where Kopech had more than 6 strikeouts. So we're going on 2 months since he hit the over on this mark. And just considering his strikeout numbers for the year, it's hard to think he's all that likely to go for 7 or more strikeouts. Out of 20 starts this season, he's only done it in 3 starts. So 17 out of 20, he's been on the under in this mark. And I get it's a really easy matchup against the Tigers. This is the easiest matchup possible for right-hand pitchers. They strike out a bunch. They don't hit against righties. But with that said, Kopech has made 2 starts against the Tigers this year. And these were the results of those starts. He pitched against them on July 10th, 5 1/3 innings, 4 strikeouts. So pretty easy under relative to that mark there. And then another start early in the season, 4 innings, 2 runs, 3 strikeouts. So 2 total starts this season against the Tigers. He was under 6.5 strikeouts in both of them. And actually in 2 starts, he combined for 7 strikeouts. So I think this number is pretty high at 6.5. Our data over at Odd Shopper seems to agree. We have Kopech projected for 5.3 strikeouts, which I also think we can make a case that even a 5.3 strikeout mark might be a little bit high considering the recent results for Michael Kopech. So that's what I'm starting the day off with here. First bet of the slate, under 6.5 strikeouts for Michael Kopech. Today's show is sponsored by BetMGM. And if you guys want to know the best way to find value in sports betting, it's just taking advantage of these new sign-up offers from a sportsbook you've not yet joined. Because if you sign up at BetMGM right now, either using the promo code OSMLB or signing up using the link in the description box below, they're going to give you a risk-free bet of up to $1,000. So if your first bet loses, they're going to refund it with a free bet up to $1,000. So if you bet $500, you get a $500 bet back if it loses, all the way up to $1,000. It doesn't have to be that much, though. Whatever you're comfortable with, it could be $10, $50, whatever it may be. So take advantage of this offer and get yourself a risk-free bet with the first bet you place over at BetMGM when you use our promo code OSMLB at sign up. The next bet I'm looking at, it is another under for strikeouts, and actually the same number as we had on Michael Kopech. This is under 6.5 strikeouts for Pablo Lopez against the Atlanta Braves, and this seems like a pretty big number for Pablo Lopez, who's having a nice season, but 6.5 is a pretty high mark, and while his strikeout numbers have been up overall for the year, that's more so in the first half of the season than in the second half. So if you look at his numbers overall, he has only been over 6 strikeouts in 1 start since May 24th. So it's been a lot of recent starts with 5 and 6 strikeouts for Pablo Lopez, which is nice, but this number is 6.5, so he would need 7 or more. So you're looking at a guy who, in his last 15 starts has only hit the over in this mark a couple of times. It is, once again, a pretty high mark in a fairly difficult matchup against the Atlanta Braves. And while I get that Atlanta is a team that could swing and miss a whole bunch, there's a lot of power in that offense. And that could present problems for Pablo Lopez to work deep into the game, which is why it makes it really hard for me to think that he's going to reliably hit the over on the strikeout mark, because the recent starts for Pablo Lopez, he went 5 innings, 2 2/3 innings, 7 innings. That was the one start where he hit the over on his strikeout prop, and then 5 innings, 5 innings, 5 innings. So more often than not, we're looking at a guy who's going 5 innings, sometimes even less if he's getting hit hard. And when a pitcher is a pretty good strikeout pitcher, but just isn't facing that many hitters per game, it's hard to rack up a whole bunch of strikeouts. And this is where I think the Braves could present issues for that strikeout mark when it comes to Pablo Lopez. And once again, the Braves do have a 25.3% K rate against righties, but I do think that's going to be offset by their ability to get on base and do some damage against Pablo Lopez, potentially get him out of the game early. And another one that our numbers over at OddsShopper do really like the under on here. We have Pablo Lopez projected to hit the under 65% of the time. The under hits a projected win rate of, like I said, the 65%, which at this mark is good for a 19% expected ROI. So second bet of the day, it's another under, another strikeout prop, another 6.5 total. Pablo Lopez under 6.5 Ks. After some post-trade deadline struggles where the Padres offense wasn't quite firing on all cylinders like we would have expected after they traded for Juan Soto and Josh Bell, they've looked much better in the last couple of games, putting up 13 runs against the Giants a couple days ago, and then 7 runs against them the game before that. So 20 runs combined for the Padres in their last couple of games, and I'm backing them today to score over 2.5 runs in the first 5 innings. I just think this is a really low mark for a couple of reasons. First off, the run total for the entire game is over under 5.5. So that mark is 5.5, but for the first 5 innings, it's only 2.5. And they're going up against a really weak starter in Corey Abbott. He recently made his major league debut. He's only pitched 5 appearances this season, 12 innings. Hasn't gone all that well. He's a 5.68 ERA and an 8.89 FIP. But here's something else to consider with Corey Abbott. He's an older pitcher. He's 26 years old. He's been a career minor leaguer, and frankly, he's kind of sucked in the minor leagues also. This year, with the Cubs in AAA, 4.5 ERA, 7.3 FIP. With the Nationals in AAA, 5.08 ERA, 4.7 FIP. So a little curious to me that, number one, he got called up to the big leagues, and then number two, that he's even sticking around in the big leagues, because he didn't have success at the minor league level, hasn't had success at the major league level. He's older. He's a totally unranked prospect. So there's just no reason for me to think he's going to have any kind of success going forward. And the Padres offense is super dangerous right now. Juan Soto, Manny Machado, Josh Bell in the middle of that order. It's problematic for opposing pitchers, especially after they've scored 20 runs in their last 2 games. So I'm just struggling to figure out how books came to the idea that the 5.5 run total is what it should be for the Padres, which I agree, 5.5, that's a fair over-under, but only 2.5 for the first 5 innings, which takes up more than half the game. So good matchup for the Padres. They have a great offense, and I think the 2.5 run total in the first 5 innings is too low. So over 2.5 runs in those first 5 innings for the San Diego Padres. For my final bet of the day, I'm looking at under 5.5 strikeouts for Jordan Montgomery. And my real main reason for liking this is we're getting plus money on the under when it comes to Montgomery. And while he's had a pretty solid season, 3.53 ERA, 4.06 expected ERA, his strikeouts are down in a pretty significant way this year. Last year, he had a 24.5% K rate. The year before that, 24.4. The year before that, 26.3. Just really consistently was a pitcher who found some success with strikeout rates in the mid 20% range. This year, though, his strikeout rate is only 20.2%. So pretty big downtick from the last couple of years. So he's found success, but just way different than he did in previous years, where he's striking less guys out, but he's also walking less hitters. So the overall ERA, the underlying numbers are pretty similar. It's just in a way where he's throwing a lot more strikes and pitching to contact as opposed to nibbling around the edges. So as a result, less walks for Jordan Montgomery, but also less strikeouts. And that's where I really like this under 5.5 mark. And a lot of it is because we're getting plus money on the under, because we have this bet winning 64% of the time. And then when you also factor in, like I said, plus money on the under, that's good for a 28% expected ROI in our numbers over at OddsShopper. So Jordan Montgomery, the strikeouts just haven't quite been there for him this year as they were in previous years. Not that I think it's that big of a difference that he's moving from the National League to the American League, but maybe a little bit of an adjustment process for him going forward. His last start came against the Yankees. He only had 1 strikeout. Tough matchup against the Yankees, but even still, to go through 5 innings without giving up any runs and only 1 strikeout, maybe there's an adjustment process for Montgomery moving to a new team. So Montgomery, as long as we're getting plus money on the under, I like it. I'm backing it under 5.5 strikeouts for Jordan Montgomery. So to recap my bets for Friday to bring us into the weekend, I've got Jordan Montgomery under 5.5 strikeouts, Pablo Lopez under 6.5 strikeouts, Michael Kopech under 6.5 strikeouts as well, and then the San Diego Padres for over 2.5 runs in the first 5 innings against Corey Abbott. Those are my favorite bets of the day, but let me know in the comment section, what do you guys have action on? Whatever bets you have on for the slate, let me know below in the comment section. Give yourself a chance to win some free prizes. Also, like the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and of course, good luck and have a great weekend, everybody.